I got an inspiration to record this little message because it reminded me of where I started. I just came out of a networking meeting with a service provider that I'm trying to source for one of the projects. And I realized that the first time when I heard the word networking, I didn't know what it meant. And I couldn't really understand the power it actually has in your life. So the first time I heard the word networking was in 2006 when I was doing my MBA. And one of the instructors was saying, it's very important to network with people. Go on LinkedIn, create your profile, connect with people there, connect with people in person. Networking is very important in your life and business, blah, blah, blah. And because English is not my first language, I remember thinking, what is networking? Is it web? Is it security network? Is it phishing net? Like, what is networking? Never did it cross my mind that actually it's people network. And only several years later, when I started my business, I started understanding the power that networking brings. And I made it intentional and a priority to actually do that. And the way I did it was I would look for different events that would be happening in the area in Silicon Valley back then, that's where I lived. And I would pick events where I thought, oh, those would be interesting people to go and meet, or those would be, this event sounds interesting and the topic sounds interesting and the speaker sounds interesting. So I would go intentionally to just meet people with no anticipation of any outcome. Meaning I was not expecting to get any business out of that. I was not expecting to, generate a huge ROI out of going into those events. It's more about building the connections and surrounding yourself with people who you can help either now or in the future, or who may help you as well. And I intentionally, to this day, network and make it a priority to do so. So there are two types of networking platforms, I guess, or ways to network. One is attending different conferences, events, meetups, social gatherings, where you don't even know what type of people are going to come to those events. So for those types of events, you have to come in very open-minded, and you have to be a little bit forthcoming and aggressive in how you network, because it definitely, from my experience, is very intimidating to come into a big room of people, know nobody in that room, and strike a conversation. I know I've had my intimidating moments, especially in a startup environment where I had attended meetups, events, with a lot of startup founders who are very technical, very engineering focused, and I had to figure out how to talk to them. But one thing I learned is that as long as you ask questions, as long as you actively listen, those conversations become very, very interesting. And the people, even if they're not from your same area of expertise, are willing to share their stories, are willing to share their passions. And you just have to be curious enough to ask questions and actively listen so that the conversation feels engaging. I personally like in-person events and meetings because it just builds a stronger connection with a person. Now, another type of networking one can do is meet one-on-one. And usually the way I do it is if I see that I need a certain service provider in my pool of resources, or if I came across a LinkedIn profile that's of interest to me and that's local, I try to schedule one-on-one lunches or coffee breaks with them and get to know them on a more personal level. Relationship building in general in a networking environment is very important because people like to do business with people, and people like to do business with people they like. So if I were to summarize and give you an advice of how to network most efficiently, is ask a lot of questions and listen actively and be engaged in the conversation. Do not go with the mindset, I need to make a sale. Go with the mindset, what are the interesting people I can meet today? Who I can build a connection with afterwards? Who has an interesting business I want to learn about more? This is the only way to build trust, to build that relationship, and to expand the quality network that you're looking for. So let me know in the comments below why you think networking is important and how has it helped you in your business, in your career, in your life. Looking forward to hearing about that.